Hello, hello, my friends. Happy Sunday up in here in the Solutions for Sellers group. Janet Parks here, CEO and founder of Solutions for Sellers, where we help online sellers simplify the way that they post online so that they can stand out and grow their business. Let me know if you're tuning in live, hashtag live in the comments, or if you end up watching on the replay. Very interested in hearing from you as well, my friend. I'm excited to get into tonight's topic because ever since I learned how to start posting in stories, my business, I swear, catapulted. And really, it's kind of crazy because we all start not knowing what we're doing. Okay, we all start posting on social media, not really understanding and not really knowing how to use the platform because it's constantly changing, right? Anybody else like agree with that? Feel like Facebook looks different every 6 months and Instagram looks different every 3 months. TikTok changes every single day, right? And these are some of the challenges that we face when it comes to posting to social media. And I don't want to even say the word challenge. I want to say the word opportunity, right? Because it's an opportunity for us to be better, right? To be a better version of ourselves and to overcome whatever obstacles we end up facing when it comes to social media. So tonight, I'm really excited to share with you how to use stories effectively for business. I've been using stories very, very consistently since June of 2020. And let me tell you, over the past, I guess, almost 3 years now of consistently posting on stories, my business has massively catapulted. I gain customers on a weekly basis through my stories. There's people that sign up for the business through my stories. And a lot of organic conversations really happen through posting in your stories because people are constantly seeing you, right? That's kind of the point. And what's really, really great about posting on stories specifically is the real estate. Okay. The real estate is everything. If you notice on most of our social media platforms, one of the biggest things that you're going to see, or at least between Instagram and Facebook and now YouTube, or no, not YouTube. YouTube has the feature, but it's really Instagram and Facebook, even though I know YouTube and TikTok also have those features. But one of the things that you'll notice is that the real estate, where can you find stories? Why are stories so effective? Because it is at the very top of the platform. It is the first thing that people's eyeballs land on when they open up the app between the website and the phone. So it's kind of common sense that more people are actually using and looking at stories than anything else, right? Of course, Reels is up there too, but it's not the first thing that people see. And a lot of people tend to overlook the importance of stories. It's kind of crazy, but what we're going to do here is I'm going to be sharing my screen. I want to make sure that this is not a super long presentation. Comment below and say hello if you are watching. If this is the first time that you're watching my training, comment below with new. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and talk about how to use stories for business here. So let's go ahead and put this on present mode. I've got a quick little presentation here. So hopefully tonight's training was impactful. Also, let me know in the comments, my friends, did you get value from tonight's trainings? If you did, what was your aha moment? What did you enjoy the most out of the trainings that were posted tonight? Okay, so we do this every single Sunday. Every Sunday we have at least 10 info posts. Sometimes they're pictures with captions, sometimes they're short form videos with some just value content that has to do with whatever subject we're going through. So this week is how to use stories for business. Last week, I don't remember what we did. Actually, I think we did Reels, maybe not too long ago. How to use Reels for business. So we do various subjects and different topics that pertain to the industry that's going to help you grow your business every single Sunday. So if you have a direct seller or network marketer friend or anybody who's in business, even if they own their own small business online, make sure to invite them into the group if you have found value from this group and you want to share it with your friends. All right, so let's go ahead and start talking about how to use stories for business here. Comment below if you are a story user or if you are someone that is still kind of dancing around the idea of actually using stories. Really curious to know. All right, so what are we going to learn tonight? So here are going to be the four main things that we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about the latest stats on stories. Why should you care, right? I truly 100% believe in teaching the why behind things. Otherwise, if you don't know the why behind them, then it's really hard for you to get yourself amped up and actually want to do the thing, right? Does anybody else agree with that? Versus just aimlessly doing something. Okay. Or at least in my book, I need to know the why. Is this important? Should I learn this? Why should I learn this? How is this going to help me in my business? How is this going to help me grow? So I'm going to be telling you and giving you all of the stats, the latest stats that I could find on stories and why you should be using them for business. How to use stories effectively to drive organic reach in business. Okay. You guys know I like to keep it real up in here. All right. I don't believe in perfectionism. Perfectionism is just a great way to procrastinate, honestly, because I mean, if you're spending all of your time trying to create perfect content, it's the most exhausting thing in the world and it's the fastest way for burnout. So I believe in organic reach. I believe in showing up as your real authentic self, and people are looking for you. Okay? So if you feel like you're not enough or you need to be some sort of level or look some type of way or own some type of house in order to show up and post valuable content that people are going to want to listen in on, please know that that's not true. You can be 100% yourself. All right, 100% real. And that's how I've been doing it. Okay. I don't live in a mansion. I live in a nice house, but I don't live in a mansion. And I show up every single day, sometimes with, toddler food on me. So sometimes it's not pretty, my friends. But guess what? People connect with that. People relate to that. People are looking for people they can relate to. Okay. So let's not think too much into it. All right. So, how to use stories effectively to drive organic reach in business. Easy content hack for simple but powerful stories. So, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I use on a daily basis, especially when I'm really, really busy. And I sometimes forget to post in my stories, right? I forget to post content up. Like maybe there's some days where I am just not going to be camera ready and I don't put makeup on every single day when I show up on my reels or stories. However, there are some days where it's like, okay, I don't feel like showing up today, right? So I'm going to show you a really cool hack that's really going to help you with some of those off days as well. All right. Who's excited for tonight's training? Comment below. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So let's talk about the stats on stories. Okay. And then comment below with an emoji if any of these are like, what craziness? Okay. 500 million people use stories daily. 500 million people use stories on a daily basis. So, what does that mean? Right? You want to be where people are hanging out. Is that correct? Yeah. So if they're hanging out on stories, that means you should be hanging out on stories. Why? Because your visibility will go up, right? Your organic reach will go up. People are going to be able to find you faster, more efficiently because you're showing up in a place that they're already hanging out. It makes sense, right? 58% of people say they've browsed a brand's website after viewing a story. Does that stop you a little bit in your tracks? For those of us that are in our party businesses, right? I know the majority of our audience, because I started out in a party business, right? The majority of this audience is in a party company. And in the party companies, they do not teach you to show up to show up on stories, right? They do not train on that because they want you to have your Facebook parties, your texting parties, and all of that, which is great. Coolio, that's fantastic. However, you're missing massive opportunity in your stories. Okay. 58% of people say that they've browsed a brand's website after viewing a story. What could that do for you if you decided to start showing up on stories consistently and you had 58% of your viewers that were watching your content end up on your website? What would that do for you? 50% visited a website to buy a product or service after viewing a story. 50% visited a website to buy. Isn't that crazy? Why? Well, I answered this question earlier. Why are people doing this? Because the key is that stories take prime real estate on the platform. The eye goes there first. So it makes sense. Because the eye naturally finds the stories first, people are using that first. Not saying everybody on the planet will use stories. I'm not saying that. However, most people are using stories. So therefore, it makes sense for us to start showing up. Okay. Crazy stats, right? So let's talk about how to use stories effectively for you and your business. Okay. All right. So here's the how. All right. And I try to keep things as simple as I possibly can, especially for the first time user. You'll notice on a lot of my trainings, a lot of the trainings really are geared for the first time user. Okay. And the reason being is because everybody was a first time user at one point, right? And instead of having to go through the trial and error of trying to figure things out on your own, why not have some kind of launching pad, something to kind of go off of so that you have some sort of knowledge and idea on how to get started, right? So your audience isn't expecting perfection on stories. 52% of watchers want brief and easy to understand content. Okay. Did you guys read that? Did you guys hear what I just said there? They're not expecting you to be a perfect supermodel on Instagram. So stop trying to do that. Okay. Don't not show up because of the way you look. All right. Do your thing. Show up. People want real and relatable. 50%, 52% of watchers want brief and easy to understand content, which is perfect in a story platform because in a story platform, you have a limited amount of time to record. Okay. I think on Facebook, it's like 20 seconds. And then on Instagram, I want to say it's 60 seconds. Okay. So if you post from like Facebook to Instagram, then you have 20-second increments. Of course, you can do multiple stories, right? So when you record one 20-second story, you can continue on with your thought or your sequence by recording another 20-second story if you're talking or doing some sort of a video or sharing a reel of some sort. But as long as it's brief and it's easy to understand, right? So less is more. So you don't feel like you need to post a million stories in one day. Then you're going to get more watchers over time and you're going to have more of a higher success rate with stories. So how do you post? Like, what do you post about? Well, I like to focus on a healthy mix of content. Okay. You guys have heard me say this term for those of you that have followed me for a while. Healthy mix of content. What does that mean? Well, I like to think of all of the areas, okay, all of the reasons why people use social media to begin with. Okay. That's where I take everything back to. Why do people use social media to begin with? It's typically these topics right here, these key components. Number one, people use social media for connection. Okay, that's the whole purpose of Facebook. It's the whole purpose of Instagram is to connect people, right? People want your you-ness. I don't even know if that's a word, but I just made it up. You-ness. People want to get to know who you are. So don't think because these teeny boppers are out there dancing around, right, in their stories and doing stuff on their TikToks. And you're thinking, I'm not a teeny bopper. I'm not that personality. I can't dance. That's not who I am. That's okay. You don't have to do the trending stuff. Okay. I said that. For those of you that are like, what? You don't have to do the trending stuff? You don't. You don't have to do the trending stuff. Because what is trending right now is originality. What is trending right now is uniqueness, you-ness. Okay. So even if you show up in your stories and you're just talking to people and sharing something of value to them, people like that. All right. There's going to be a reason why people resonate with me versus another trainer, right? There's a reason why you follow me versus someone else. And then there's a reason why people follow me and other trainers as well, because some of us will have a message that resonates with you. And because of that, you continue to follow because you like the way that they break down a subject. You like the way that they train, right? They've said something that sits well with you. It makes you understand something better. Okay. So don't be afraid to be you. Okay. Encompass and embrace your you-ness. Share the things that you love and are passionate about. Very often, for those of you that are friends with me on Facebook, you guys know that I post about my kids almost every single day. Some people say not to. I think it's great to post about your kids, especially if they're a major part of your life. There's a large audience of people that know how old my kids are and what their interests are, and there's some people that have watched my kids grow up. I get messages every so often. I'm like, oh my gosh, Elijah, you cut his hair, right? Like when he, do you guys remember that? Those of you that are friends with me on Facebook, my son is 2 years old. He's got crazy curly hair, like crazy curly hair. I don't know where that came from, but it's crazy. And when we cut his hair, because it was like starting to create like dreadlocks in the back, it was really, really bad. I don't know how to handle curly hair clearly. But when we cut his hair, it was like a shockwave. So many people that have been watching him since he was born, they see him and they're like, oh my gosh, he looks so different, or he looks older, or I miss his curly hair. This is the type of connection that you can create with your audience, right? And you're probably wondering, like, what does that have to do with sales? You don't have sales and you don't have a business unless you have connection first, right? You have to work on that connection piece. You got to connect with your audience. You have to get people, you have to build that know, like, and trust factor. And you can absolutely do that very effectively using stories. And the whole point of stories is to help bridge the gap. Okay. Stories allows people into your world. And when you allow people into your world, it creates an organic space for conversation. And conversation, the fortune's in the follow-up, right? The fortune is in the conversation. So that is where a lot of that success will happen. The next topic, or the next key component, is value content. Okay. Value content. Comment below if you know what value means. Okay. What does that mean? You guys hear it left and right. Value, 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 value. What does value mean? Okay. Value is, it's really, it could be a number of things, but it's content that you share, okay, that is of value to someone else. So it could be your personal experience, your personal insight, right? It could be education, anything that you educate people on, tips, hacks, helpful ideas, right? Maybe you're an expert on a certain subject. Wink, wink, your personal brand, whatever it is that you sell, right? Besides just focusing on the thing that you sell, what can you educate people around that, right? If I sell health and wellness and I have health and wellness supplements, then I probably want to have a bigger circle around that, okay? And that bigger circle, that bigger bubble is going to be, what can I educate people on, right? What kind of value can I give to my audience that's going to lead them back to me? They're going to build that know, like, and trust factor, and then want to consider me and remember me in the future when they're ready to get their health and wellness in gear. So I may talk about things like your gut health or skincare or eating right? For example, recently I did a meal prepping story and I had a ton of engagement from that because I just shared my tips on meal prepping, because we had been meal prepping since the beginning of the year, right? And we are portioning out our foods and we're having a more balanced diet. So because I shared that, it created these organic conversations on meal prepping and tips and recipes. And then on a lot of those conversations ended up going in talking about the products. It just naturally led to that, right? So you have to think, like, if you're struggling to sell your products, maybe try to think of value outside of just that thing that you sell. What can you educate people on? What kind of tips and hacks can you share that revolve around your product, right? Or the genre that you're in, the niche that you're in. Okay. And maybe just focus on that. So personal experience, personal insight, right? That example I gave you on meal prepping, that's value and it's a personal experience of mine. Okay. Education, right? Educating people. Tips. 46% of users, check this out. 46% of story watchers, that's what I mean by users, are keen to hear your tips and advice. People are looking for that influence. They are naturally looking to be influenced. Okay. People are natural followers. So if you're sharing something that is insightful, that is helpful, that is yours, right? Your content, and you're sharing that with the world, people are looking for that information. So if you have anything of value to share, and really, I want you guys to also think about this. For those of you that think, okay, but I'm not the ultimate expert. I don't have a degree in this. I don't have all the answers to all of it. You don't need to be the ultimate expert. You just need to know a little bit more than someone else. That's it. Okay. I literally learned how to meal prep. Guys, you ready for this? I literally learned how to meal prep like a few days before I made that story. There are probably better hacks and tips out there that someone else has posted, and they can tell you all the best things. But guess what? I found something that's worked for me, right? I found something and I have been doing the thing, okay? actively doing it and sharing the process in my stories, and people are getting value. They're asking, what kind of meat am I buying? How do you portion things out? Right? Well, I do a cup of rice, and that's the average for one person, right? These are the different vegetables and the meats that I'm putting in my kebabs for my meal preps. Personal insight and personal experience is just as good. Okay. It's just as good. So I want you guys to really kind of simmer on that a little bit. But value content. The next one is entertainment. Entertainment. Okay. What kind of entertainment can you post in your stories? You can share a meme. There's tons on Facebook. Okay. If you literally use the search bar on Facebook, if you're not a funny person and you struggle with being funny, go to the search bar on Facebook and then type in funny or type in humor, and you will see memes on dedicated Facebook pages where people post funny things. Okay. I like to find the mom related ones. Okay. And I'll share those into my stories. You can share that stuff into your stories. It's funny and it attracts people's attention. And one of my leaders, one of my mentors actually said this: funny equals money. It's just true. Okay. If you can attract your audience by being entertaining and being funny, funny equals money. Okay. Another thing you can do for entertainment, if you don't want to juggle in your stories, right? If you don't want to put on a clown mask and make, balloon animals, right? Maybe we're not all that talented, including myself. Share your reels. If you're making reels, if you're making TikToks, share them into your stories. Okay. That gives a mix of content between you talking into your stories, graphics, polls and interaction, and then a video. Okay. It makes your sequence interesting. The last component is promotional. All right. You can sell in your stories. Those of you that are like, no, that's shocking. Can I really sell in my stories? And I'm mostly talking to party-based companies. Okay. If you're in a party business, you're told you cannot sell outside of a closed group. Okay. Check your guidelines. Just check your guidelines before I say anything else. Because some companies are like really, really strict on that. Other companies are like, we don't care. Promotional content. 50% of users want to explore new products. 50%. You guys heard that, right? That means 50% of the people that are watching your stories are looking to go shopping. What? Isn't that wild to think about? So why not? Why not allow them a space to go shopping with you, right? Promotional content can be curiosity marketing. It could be you talking about an upcoming sale. It honestly could be those things, right? If you have a sale going on, yes, you can pop in some sales graphics, but here's the rule, all right? Much like your VIP group, 80% value, 80% connection, 80% entertainment, 20% of their content is selling. Okay. Business ask and product ask. All right. Is that helpful? All right. Let's go to the next page here. Let's talk about our story content hack. Okay. So this is going to be for, listen, I do this very, very often and people don't notice the difference. All right. Repurposing content. We are about working smarter, not harder. So why not use and leverage the tools that are available for us? Okay. So here's what's really, really cool. Number one, if you're not using story templates, what are you doing? If you're posting stories every day, why aren't you using story templates? Solutions for Sellers in our boutique. Okay. Check out the guide section, guide 1. You're going to find the link to our boutique. We have the latest story templates that you can use. It's supplemental story graphics, and you can actually personalize them. So you can put your logo on them so your branding stands out. You see, these are some examples of what that could look like right here. You can add your products to them. You can just really simplify that process. And in addition to that, a lot of the story content, you'll get a mix of interaction posts, interaction stories. So you can add a poll, you can add a question answer box, really just to kind of mix it up and gain that engagement through your stories. Okay. So each story pack that we sell, it's got like a whole month worth of stories. So it's like one graphic a day, but they're designed to be used supplementally. Okay. Not to be the entire purpose of your story. Okay. But they're used really to just kind of supplement your content. The next thing, the next awesome hack is recycling the stories that you've already made. So if you go into Instagram, okay, and you go into the settings, the three lines at the top right, go to where it says archive. It's going to show you your history of all the stories that you have ever made on the platform. Isn't that awesome? So if there was a story of you, this is actually me talking about meal prep not too long ago, right here. Those are those three. You can actually reshare them, okay? Remove the date and then reshare them, because guess what? Not everybody has seen your stories. So if it's repetitive sometimes, that's okay. Sometimes I will take a story that I did last week that I know worked really well or boosted my engagement or maybe helped me get some sales or maybe helped with organic reach. I will repurpose it and repost it today, right? Especially on those days that we're busy. Let's be real. Sometimes we busy, right? Sometimes we just busy. So why not recycle the content that you already have? Because most times, 9 times out of 10, not everybody has seen the story content that you posted. You have to remember, story content uh, disappears after 24 hours. And then if you do reshare it, most people will forget, right? And guess what? Here's an extra hack for you. All right. This is what's really helpful. Might ease your mind a little bit about repurposing some of the content, even though you've already shared it. It takes 7 times, 7 exposures for someone on average to make a decision to buy with someone. Seven. Okay. It takes 12 to 14 conversations on average to close a sale in Messenger. Okay. So if you can repurpose your stuff 7 times to help someone make a decision and have them reach out to you, right? And then you can engage in those conversations 12 to 14 times or less, then you can close more sales. So repurposing content logically makes sense, right? You can close more sales when you're repeating yourself. Okay. Instead of having to come up with something brand new to say all the time, repurpose perfectly good content. Okay. The last content hack is sharing your reels. Share your reels into your stories. So if you have a reel on Facebook, you can also share that into your stories. If you have a reel on Instagram, share that reel into your stories. Okay. That's going to help you, again, give your stories a little bit of diversity, a little bit of mixing it up. That way it's not just like pictures, right? You talking obviously is really, really helpful. But share your reels. If they're valuable reels and they're really good ones, it's very easy content to post into your stories. Okay. Hashtag value in the comments. Did you guys get value from tonight's training? Who's excited to get started with stories? And thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight on our Sunday segment. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me tonight.